everybody, how you doing? Tekking101 back again with Winter Clothing Variant Barry here, so say hello, Winter Clothing Variant Barry. Alright, so this will be Chapter 1002. It's so weird with the 1,000 chapters now. Chapter 1002, that's going to take a while to get used to. Chapter 1047. Chapter 1139. That's going to be weird, but I'll get used to it at some point. Alright, so I'm assuming you've already read the chapter, so you know what happens in this chapter, so it's a pretty good thing we started that attack counter last time, right? You know, it's pretty good. Okay, in case you're just joining us now, we are going to try to count and keep track of each successive attack that each of these characters deal to Kaido. Not Big Mom, just Kaido. We're only counting Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Killer, Law. You know, so if anybody else joins in on the battle, you know, those aren't counted. We're just trying to figure out who's going to deal out of this group of the supernovas the most attack damage to Kaido. Alright, rapid attacks like Gatlings and stuff that Luffy has in his repertoire, which it's a pretty good thing I instituted that rule last time. That only counts as one, because you can't keep track of every attack. So, we started it last week, we're going to continue on today. Right now, I believe, I don't have it right down here. I don't have reality warping powers to actually see the chart right now, but I think we left off with Luffy with 2 attacks with the red rock, and then he also dealt, what was the other attack that he dealt with Kaido last chapter? I forget, I think it was just the Kong gun or something. Whatever, he dealt with that too. So we now have 2 attacks for Luffy and 1 for everybody else. So Luffy is currently in the lead, but we'll see where this goes. So this is chapter 1002 titled The Yonko versus the New Generation, which I like because it's the Yonko, but it's like not the 4 emperors. I was reading this title like, what, is Shanks and Blackbeard gonna show up? You know, Shanks and Blackbeard show up. It's like, hey, well, we had our differences, but we heard that, you know, Kaido and Big Mom were fighting you guys, and we wanted to throw our hats into the ring too. But no, it's just, of course, Big Mom and Kaido. But it's a passing of the torch kind of thing. Will this new generation be able to live up to the prophecy stated by Odin in years past and be able to take out Kaido and Big Mom and the Yonko? Will they surpass this level and go on a whole new, I don't know, powerhouse group? What would you call them? I don't know, like after the supernovas, and if they're not going to be Yonko anymore, you know, what would you call Luffy and Kid and Law at the end of this? You know, would you just call them the new emperors? Or would you come up with some cool other name for them? I don't know. But anyway, the cover page I gotta mention because it's hilarious. It's Rob Lucci hanging out on a park bench feeding a bunch of pigeons. And of course, Lucci has his pigeon companion Hattori, so he's there too, but Hattori looks really sad. Hattori's like off to the side with like a big bump on his head and crying as all these other pigeons are bullying Hattori, and so he can't get any of the breadcrumbs or whatever. And what's even funnier is I start looking at these pigeons. Oda drew these pigeons, like these pigeons, some of these pigeons have mullets and scars, like these pigeons are not messing around, okay? So, Rob Lucci's just walking by and he's like, I imagine this is what he does on his days off or after work. You know, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that goes to a bar and hangs out with his, the other members of CPH0, right? He seems like the kind of guy that's like, all right, my shift is over for the day. I'm just gonna walk home and feed the pigeons in the park and then go and make my dinner and then go to sleep and then wake up and go to work the next day. That really seems like the kind of, you know, guy, the methodical guy that Rob Lucci is. But, come on, Hattori, you can fight back. We know you have the power of 1,000,000 demon lords inside of that feathery body of yours. Rip them apart! But yeah, that's just pretty funny just to see Rob Lucci feeding pigeons in a park. Okay. Alright, so we continue on last chapter with the fight. We're just resuming. There's really no break. It's just we're resuming the fight, okay? So Kaido rears back and he releases his destructive breath. This is the same attack I believe he used to slice off Kiku's arm, the wind sight breath, I guess I'll just call it too. So he has the ability to do that, you know, lightning breath, fire breath, wind breath. We just have to get some kind of earth-based breath in there, and then the 4 elements are taken care of right there. You know, volcano breath! He breathes so hard, it doesn't just rip up the ground, it rips up the ground like the mantle of the earth so much that lava and magma spew out, alright? Don't laugh, that could legitimately be a power that he has, okay? At this point, anything's fair game. So, Law sees that coming, and he's pretty much like, all sorts of nope. So he just sees the giant wind destruction blades coming at him, and he's just like, nope, shambles, and he just pops away. So that must be very convenient for Law whenever he sees a giant attack coming. As long as he has a big enough room open, he could just be like, nope, and then just switch around the battlefield there. Kid's giant mecha robo skull gets the full brunt of this attack. It gets sliced to shreds, or scrap metal, I guess I should say. Killer is very shocked by this, and he's like, Kid, no, you're giant robot! But Kid's like, don't worry about it, Killer. It was scrap metal to begin with. So this brings up a very important, function of Kid's devil fruit, which has yet to be actually named. Come on, Oda, we've had plenty of opportunities we know it's the magnet fruit, alright? It's not going to throw us for a loop of what this is actually going to be. It's going to be some variant of the magnet fruit, or to make that work in the phonetics of Japanese or whatever. But at any rate, he gets shredded, right? It doesn't matter. It's scrap metal. It's not like he carefully, built the robot himself, like something like Frankie would do or something. Like if the Frankie Shogun gets destroyed, which could very well happen in this arc, Frankie can't just stick it back together. He's going to have to make a whole new model, which I think Frankie would also be able to do with, minimal effort. He is Frankie after all. And of course, the next Frankie Shogun will be bigger and stronger than the previous version. But with Kid, he doesn't have to worry about that, okay? Because he's literally just gathering scrap metal together, so if an arm gets ripped off, in theory, couldn't he just use the magnetic force to just grab it and just paste it back onto the robot again? So the robot kind of gets busted up, but Kid's not really, he doesn't really care. And also, that gives a whole new idea to how he fights. Because, he doesn't have to worry about protecting his robot or whatever. The robot is just, charging forth like a raging bull, right? It's just, charging toward Kaido. It gets ripped apart. It doesn't matter. Kids just keep dragging on more scrap metal to make sure he's safe. He gets in close, and he releases an attack called Slam Gibson! I wish I had a flying V to work with here, but at any rate, this is what Kid does. And I'm skipping ahead a bit here, actually, because Luffy actually uses the technique first, so I guess I'll throw that in there first. I'll go in chronological order, okay. First thing, Zoro slices one of the wind blades with Enma. Not a really big thing there. He doesn't, attack Kaido with it or anything. It's just the wind blades coming at Zoro, and Zoro's just like... Phew! And then he... Okay, we're good. And then just whoof, and then just slices the wind blade, and it goes crashing into another rock behind him. So that's how Zoro avoids the attack. And then Luffy uses, I think, just a regular... No, he uses Kong rifle here. I don't know if we've seen Kong rifle yet, but it's pretty much the same thing as a Kong gun, except it's coiled, just like his regular rifle. So it's like a spin kind of attack. I remember in the 4Kids dub, it wasn't Gumu Gumu no rifle, it was Gumu Gumu no drill, which... is, censored for, 4Kids audience, but also is not a completely inaccurate term for that attack, because it does, move his hand like a drill or a screw or something, and so, boom! Hits Kaido right in the face with that, actually. Kaido Dragon is coming down and just, rifle! Boom! And then right when Kaido's head is in that back, position, like he's doing a backflip into a pool, freaking that's when Kid shows up with his Slam Gibson, grabs Kaido's face, his dragon head with his giant mecha robo, and then flips it again in the air. Back body slam. I don't watch wrestling, probably not what that is. Bam! And then he just basically flips him in the air. Okay, so to reiterate, Kaido Dragon's coming down. Luffy punches him so damn hard in the face with Kong rifle. Boo! And then Kid grabs him, and then whoop! Boom! Again! So this is some wrestling crap we're doing here. This is great. So Luffy got a hit there, Kid got a hit there. Also, I really want to throw in the power level of that damn robot at this point, okay? It's easy to say, before when he activated the Punk Rotten, the giant robot, the giant robot, okay? It was bigger than Kaido's regular, human form, alright? Obviously not as big as Kaido when he goes into Dragon. Dragon Kaido's bigger than the robot. But I'm like, okay, is this robot more armor, or is it actually really, really strong? From what we see here, no, it's really, really strong. He was able to flip the entirety of Kaido's dragon body into the ground, alright? That's pretty good, alright? So yeah, this isn't just some scrap armor that, just looks tough, but really could be, pulled asunder really quickly, or it's, not very strong. No, it definitely gives Kid, a huge strength boost and everything. It's insane. And then, so Kaido gets launched into the ground, and then we have Law's scene, okay? So Law, upon seeing all this crap, he teleports back, and he brings up something I actually mentioned in the last chapter, which was like, alright, Law is going to use his gamma knife, I'm assuming. Last time he talked about, like, I will deliver a surgical death right into your internal organs, right? And then he summoned a bunch of rocks, you know? And I was just like, well, is it because, you know, rocks, Captain Rocks, that's his one weakness? But no. I was also thinking maybe the rocks might have been a feint. Like, I'm gonna throw the rocks at you, and then the rocks are gonna, like, pierce your body, and then I'll room, and then I'll use gamma knife? I don't really know. Maybe Law was trying to test out to see where the critical organs are in a dragon or whatever. But Law actually brings it up. He's like, I actually have not seen the anatomical chart of a dragon. By the way, pause really quick. Does Law have an X-ray ability? He has that ability called Scan. He used that when fighting, well, not really fighting. He used that against the Marines, the G5 Marines at Punk Hazard. Like, he did that, like, Scan. And he's, like, found the different Den Mushi that they were on their persons, and then he used Room to, like, confiscate them all so they couldn't call for help, right? I'm assuming the Scan ability is, like, X-ray or, like, any sort of, like, you know, medical scan, like an MRI. Like, that's the point of the scan ability. So Law says, you know, I have no idea what the anatomical structure of a dragon is. I have no idea where your organs are. In this chapter, he just kind of guesses. He's like, well, it's an educated guess. He is still a doctor. So, you know, Kaido is a dragon, but he's still a biological, you know, being. So just like, based on the anatomy that you seem to have, I guess the heart is right here. Gamma knife! You know, and he just like blasts Kaido right in the... It's actually right next to the scar that Odin left on him. You know, it's kind of like a little bit, you know, to the right and up of the scar where Odin struck him before. But yeah, that's a little interesting, because I think, couldn't Law just like, all right, I don't know the anatomy of Kaido, let me just use Scan really quick. Okay, the heart's right there. Gamma knife! And I'm guessing that Law was off. I mean, he might not have been off a lot. The heart might have been in that general region, but Gamma Knife should really be like a battle-ending technique. Alright, because the whole point of Gamma Knife is not, you know, external damage or anything. Like, I'm gonna cause a cut for you to bleed out or anything. Gamma Knife is literally using a radiation knife to cut through the skin. Not even cut through the skin. To go through the skin. Bypass the skin. Any defenses that you have. And just crush and destroy and shred the organs from within. God, that sounds horrific, but that's what it does. So I'm assuming he just missed the heart, because unless Kaido has like 5 hearts, which, to be fair, I'm not willing to exactly throw that out off the board either, because it's Kaido, I guess he missed, because Kaido can still move around after this. He doesn't seem any worse for the wear. He even has enough, you know, enough energy to make a witty retort after Law gamma knifes him right in his slender dragon snake duck fish body. He's just like, so you brats figured out that you could get through my tough hide, so you're not just attacking me with guts alone. That's what he says. He's like, you're not just charging at me and hoping to get a good hit out on me. You can actually bypass my defenses with your special techniques, right? And so Law has gamma knife, Kid has a giant robot, and you know, Luffy of course has his Ryuo techniques. Zoro's got Enma, so that's how they're kind of able to bypass it stuff. But you know, Kaido is still, you know, he doesn't seem to be that worse for wear. I mean, he seems to be pissed off now, and the attacks are certainly doing more damage than like the scabbards did to him or anything. But yeah, if that was really his one heart, if he only has one heart, if we're assuming that Kaido only has one heart, comment down below how many hearts you think he has. And Law actually did hit the gamma knife on his heart. That should be an ending battle right there, right? It should just be over. But at any rate, yeah, there's some other stuff Law could do here. So that was Law, so he got an attack, so let's add that to the chart there. He got a gamma knife off. Now, what about Killer? Because we went through all the other techniques that, you know, they have to, you know, bypass Kaido's scales and his defenses. What about Killer? What has he got? Well, he's got his Punisher blades. He's got his Gyro Death Razor blades on his wrist gauntlets, right? But what are they gonna do? Oh, they're gonna do something pretty damn cool. So, Killer is using his Punisher blades to, like grappling hooks, to, like, scale up the side of Kaido. Like, while everything else is going on. After he got got slammed by Kid, after he got punched in the face by Luffy's Kong rifle, and after he got gamma knifed, freaking Killer this entire time is running up the side of Kaido like a damn, you know, like an obstacle course or something, like American Gladiators or some shit, and he's using his blades to like grapple into the scales, and he's moving up the freaking thing, and he gets to the center, like right in the center of the dragon, okay? And then he activates his special technique, Scyther Sonic! Or like Sonic Death Blade. It's a sound vibration Death Blade. That's what it is. And so you just see this scene, which is great, where like the blades of his Punisher blades like expand. They go from like okay, so this is the dragon, Killer's right here. He's just a tiny speck on the back of Kaido, right? And then the Death Sonic Scyther blade activates, and it's like these blades get huge. Just a visual representation. They're not actually getting bigger. Like the metal isn't getting bigger. This is a representation of the sonic or the vibrations that's just so damn high that it looks like these blades are like huge, and they're cutting into Kaido and they're hitting him from like all these parts like inside of him, right? So the blades are like passing through him, damaging him internally. All right, and I think honestly, add the point for Killer first, but I think this might have been the one that so far has done more damage to Kaido. And I only say this, and it might just be something else going on with Kaido's face, but the very next panel, after he uses the Scyther Sonic Death Blades, you see Kaido, and he's like yelling in pain, and there's like a little bit of maybe a tear coming off of his eye. I don't know if that's something else or it's just part of his scales or whatever, but I choose to interpret it as just a little tear. Like Kaido's like, he's like, Kong rifle, boom, you stupid rubber kid, slam Gibson, you robots. And then freaking Law's like, gamma knife, you freaking surgeons, you know? And then he's like, you can't hurt me. And then freaking Killer's like, Scyther Sonic Death Blades. And then, you know, Kaido gets hurt inside of that. He's like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry, that didn't hurt, get off of me. Actually, he doesn't get him off of him, Big Mom gets him off of him. Big Mom uses a technique called Indra, which is a Hindu deity of storms and thunder and lightning, much in the same vein of like Thor, for example. You know, there's like a lot of storm, lightning deities out there in mythology. Indra's like the Hindu equivalent of that. And so she uses a technique called Indra, which just launches a streak of like lightning. It doesn't hit Kaido, it just hits Killer on the back of Kaido. And so he gets like struck with that full force, and it looks like he's going down, okay? But that Scyther Sonic Death Blade, that was pretty cool. It reminds me of like Zebra's attacks from Toriko. He has like the Sonic Cutter, and then he has like the Vibration Sonic Cutter. All right, so it's basically, I guess, just making his Punisher blades vibrate at like an insane level of like RPMs, or like a chainsaw, like Cars' ability, kind of, sort of, from JoJo's. I don't know. It's just vibrating a lot, and then it caused damage. All right, you physicists out there could figure out with the exact, you know, focus of his blades or what they're doing or whatever, but it vibrated a lot, and now Kaido got hurt. All right, that's what you need to know. But then Killer also got electrocuted, so that's not good. Killer gets knocked out by that, and then Big Mom is up in the sky. Zeus is like full demonic evil thundercloud. Prometheus is up there. Napoleon is in the cognac flaming sword mode, and she's just like, there's no escape from my power, you know. And so she's like this raging like lightning thunderstorm fire deity up there. Next up is that, okay, so Killer got fried by Big Mom, and he's falling down. Kaido's about to just eat him, like literally, just that's something he can do. He can just chomp and just devour them whole whenever. Although in Killer's case, devouring him whole might not work, because if he doesn't die when he gets eaten, he's inside of Kaido now, and then the Sonic Death Blade would probably really hurt. But anyway, he's about to eat Killer. Luffy jumps in at the last minute with Rhino Schneider, and then BAM! Smacks into Kaido's right in the side of his face. So Killer is spared for the time being, but now Kaido turns to go attack Luffy, and he opens his mouth to already a Boro breath. At the exact same time, we then have Zoro on the ground with Enma, like, Traffy, give me a boost! Because it's like, oh man, Luffy's about to get nuked by the Boro breath. Okay, Traffy, give me a lift, I'll slice that fire, we'll be good. Of course, Law is on. Law does it. Law does do it, but he's off to the side like, it's like, for the love of, first Luffy, and now, I don't take orders from you! shambles, and then he sends Zoro up, and I'm like, look, okay, Law, do you want this fucker dead or don't you? Like, seriously. Like, I'm like, I get it, it's a running joke. Law doesn't like it, you know, when, like, other people are giving him orders and treating him like a babysitter. In another translation, it was the babysitter line, or he's just like, I know, I am not here to just teleport you all around the battlefield, okay? It's like, you kind of are, Law. Like, do you want, like, okay. Law, I think he understands he can't defeat Kaido on his own. So, like, Law is smart enough to know that. At least I hope he's smart enough to know that. You know, he's not going to be able to beat Kaido on his own, but he also doesn't want to help out anybody else trying to defeat Kaido. It's like, do you want him dead or don't you? It's just like, come on, Law. Now, he still does the shambles, so it's not like it gets into a major argument or like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, he still does it, but he has to have the quip, and it's just like, Law, man, look, are you just mad because you forgot to use the scan ability on Kaido and find out where his heart is? Because you could still do that. I love you, Law, I do, but this is gonna be a team effort, and you're the only one on the battlefield that has the teleportation powers. Luffy can't teleport, Zoro can't teleport, Killer can't teleport, maybe to the inside of Kaido's mouth, but that didn't happen. You know, and Kid can't teleport, you can teleport, alright? So use the teleportation, zip them around the battlefield, and then after this is all over, maybe you can, when you're having the feast or whatever, and you're having a big party after the defeat of Big Mom and Kaido, maybe you could stand at the front of the freaking table or whatever, and you could be like, just remember, it was me teleporting you all around the battlefield that saved your asses about 55 times during that fight. Because if it wasn't for me, you'd all be dead. And I want to hear some recognition of that. And then you have a moment where everybody goes quiet, and Kid and Luffy and Zoro and Killer are just kind of like sheepishly like, yes, Law, okay, Law, yes, you were pretty awesome in that fight, Law. Thank you for teleporting us around and saving us and giving us prime battle, you know, tactics and, you know, vantage points to strike Kaido from. You're awesome, Law. Thank you. Law's like, damn straight. All right. You can wait until after that, but for right now, you know, if Zoro needs a lift, give the dude a lift. If Luffy needs teleported away from, you know, preventing to get sliced in half by a giant wind death blade, teleport him 5 feet to the left just to help him out. All right? Just to give a little bit of benefit here. All right. So, Law, you know, warps Zoro ahead. Zoro uses one of Kinemon's technique, the Flame Rend, to slice the Boro Breath. So you think it's just opening a path for Luffy, because Luffy's right here, you know, Kaido's right here. Boro Breath, Zoro, sliced, and then Luffy has a prime moment to just attack him. But no, Zoro's not just opening a path for Luffy. Zoro's going in 100% here. He's diving into the deep end of this pool. He takes out Enma. He takes a big inhale. He's like, Dragon Blade, blaze! And he raises up Enma, and it looks like he's like really channeling a crap ton of hockey into that sword. Like he's busting out 100%. And he uses, I think, the same blaze technique he used to defeat Ryuma. You know, the blaze dragon technique that like cut down Ryuma at Thriller Bark. Okay, and this is, you know, post time skip now, so this is doing like a whole other level. And this is with Enma. And so he takes his blade behind him, and then blaze, and then it misses Kaido, but it slices off one of the horns of Muffin Mountain, of Onigashima. One of the giant horns that's basically a mountain unto itself gets sliced in half cleanly by this attack. That is insane. Now, afterwards, you know, Zoro is really huffing, and he's just like, oh, whew, okay, I missed, damn it. Like, he's really out of breath, and he's coughing, and it's just like, okay, I missed, and it looked like it drained a lot of hockey out of him. That took a lot of him. He really poured a lot of his power into that. So that might need Zoro to take a little bit of moment, like a breather there, to get his power back, to get his Ryuo or his hockey back. You know, he could focus it into the blade there again. But if that were to hit Kaido head on, and Big Mom even says, like, Kaido, you need to dodge! It's not an ordinary sword, mama. And, like, they were actually legitimately terrified because they can sense the hockey pouring off that thing, right? Kaido and Big Mom both felt it. Kaido felt it, and he kind of froze, kind of like, why is Odin's aura around that sword? Oh, crap. And Big Mom's like, what's with the hockey around that sword? Oh, crap. So they can sense this level of hockey. I think at the moment what that was happening there is Zoro was reaching a Ryuo, like a hockey level coming off of Enma that would be comparable to a Yonko, like, or maybe comparable to, like, remember that clash that happened with Whitebeard and Roger? Not quite on that level, but, like, for a moment there, for a briefest second of seconds, Zoro's energy, like, spiked, like, through the roof with that attack. Alright, and he can't use that successively, and he's really worn out now, and, you know, Enma sucked out a lot of his haki, so he's gonna have to take a minute to, like, you know, like, gather that back up or focus, kind of like how Luffy overused his haki during Dressrosa. It's gonna be something like that. But anyway, Zoro might not have a lot of opportunities to do that, because as he's falling after the attack, Big Mom releases another attack called Tenjin, and that releases lightning down on the entire battlefield. So she's literally just like, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, and just charging everybody with these pinpointed, like, zoned in attacks. So it hits Zoro, it hits Kid, I guess it hits Law, I don't know, it's like panels where I can't tell if Law's like jumping out of the way of the lightning bolt or he's caught right in the middle of the lightning bolt, but the implication is Big Mom, after seeing that attack, goes crazy with the lightning and then just shocks everybody, okay? One thing before that, though, I just want to mention with Kaido and Odin's sword. So Kaido sees it and he's like, why do I sense Odin's aura around that blade? And I'm like, Kaido, did you never check to see what happened with the swords? Did you never check? Did you never ask Orochi, like, hey Orochi, remember those two swords that Odin had? You know, the ones that caused this giant scar on my body? The only blades to do so in, like, ever. What happened to them after I shot Odin? Did you never ask Orochi? Orochi be like, I don't know, Kaido, I couldn't find them. I looked all over, I just couldn't find them. And, you know, Kaido was just like, oh, whatever, I guess they probably won't be relevant in the future. I think at that moment, Kaido was like, oh crap, I really should have looked for those swords. I really should have paid, no excuses, really. I had 20 years there, I really dropped the ball. 20 years to scour the land of Wano, trying to find the two swords that were able to slice me in the hands of Odin. Damn it, well, you win some, you lose some. I was just too busy drinking, right? So, yeah, here it comes. So, yeah, I think, you know, Kaido now knows Zoro has, you know, Enma. So he might be actually focusing more of his attacks on Zoro now. I mean, Luffy is strong, Law is strong, and everybody, but now that he knows that he has a sword that, and we saw what it could do, it sliced the damn horn off, so Kaido knows it's for real, it's legit. It's not like, oh, this guy has Enma, but he won't be as strong as, you know, Odin was with it. Shing! Entire damn horn falls off, like, oh, alright, yeah, I need to deal with that. You know, but at any rate, Big Mom uses the Tenjin technique. Tenjin is a Shinto god, and Tenjin is kind of like sky deity, like literally like Ten, sky, Jin, god. And so it's a reference to like Raijin, and like they're related in some way, Raijin being the lightning thunder god in Japan. You know, so there's references there. So it's a massive lightning storm. And so everybody gets hit by this, everybody, except for Kaido. And even Luffy gets hit by the lightning. But then we have a great callback to the Eneru fight, which is great, where Luffy gets struck by lightning, and he's still in Gear 4th, and he just, like, passes through the lightning to go attack Big Mom, and Big Mom's like, Mama Straw Hat, how did you avoid my lightning? How did you, how are you okay after getting struck by my lightning? And Luffy's like, I'm made of rubber. You're gonna pay. Bam! It's just like, I'm made of rubber. Don't know what to tell you. You know, and so that's a great callback there. So Luffy's actually about ready to blast just Big Mom, into the next freaking, into the East Blue or whatever. And that's quite a feat considering it's all the way on the other side of the planet. But he's about ready to strike her. And at that exact moment, though, Kaido then shows up to use the Blast Breath, hits Luffy with the Blast Breath, but even the fire getting hit dead on with that, I mean, I'm sure it injures Luffy. It injures Luffy a hell of a lot more than the lightning did, because the lightning basically does, like, nil damage, especially with Luffy at this level, with the Ryuo and the Gear 4th active. I'm sure the lightning did very minimal damage. But anyway, he takes the Boro Breath, the fire dissipates, and, Luffy's still there in the air, still conscious, and he's all charred and everything, and Kaido's like, what? How did you avoid the Boro Breath? How did you resist that? He's immune to fire too? How did that happen? And Luffy's like, that one was just guts. Kong! Gatling! Boom! Cue up the music. I can't play it, but the music that plays when Luffy uses Jet Gatling against Lucci. Do 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 do. Boom! Do 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 do. boom, boom, and then he just slams into Kaido with a Kong Gatling, ending out the chapter. And this Kong Gatling is ferocious. It is savage, alright? It is just, he is being pummeled from, like, every direction, and Kaido is literally getting knocked to the ground with this Kong Gatling. And there's no break next week. That's one big thing I feel like I should mention. No break next week. Next chapter should be out February 7th, next Sunday. Oh my god. After this attack, add the thing for Luffy, add it for Luffy there. Zoro unfortunately missed, so I don't think he actually got an attack in on Kaido this week, so I think Zoro is probably in last place right now because he missed Kaido with that sword attack. I'm not going to count the Flame Rend, because that wasn't an attack that hit Kaido. It just, Kaido fired off the breath, and then he just sliced the breath. It didn't actually cause any damage to Kaido. He was just cutting one of Kaido's attacks. So it's like diverting, or like dodging, or like parrying the Boro breath. I'm not going to count that. It didn't actually connect. So I think Zoro is in last place right now, so sorry, Zoro fans. And I think Luffy, right now is in 4th. He has 4 attacks in on Kaido, right? Yeah, so he had, you know, the Red Rock, and then the one last chapter, and then he had a Kong Rifle, and a Kong Gatling in this chapter. So Luffy is still in the lead. Don't worry about that. But anyway, yeah. Next chapter, when Kaido gets up from this, I want to see some serious battle damage now. Most of the time throughout this entire battle so far, we haven't really seen any permanent battle damage. Sometimes Kaido will be coughing up blood. Sometimes a little tear will be coming off his eyes, like when he got attacked by Killer, if that really was a tear. And we might see some scuffs or some bruises. But no. After this onslaught of a Kong Gatling, I want to see some battle damage. I want to see Kaido, like, spit out a dragon tooth. Or, like, one of his eyes is kind of, like, blackened, kind of, like, swollen shut. Or, you know, there's some serious blood, like, you know, like that's actually gonna stick for the rest of the battle. Like, we see a giant whelp on the side of his face that's, like, bleeding or something. I want to see something like that after this is over. Okay, we need to start seeing some consistent battle damage on Kaido. So Big Mom is still in the fight, too. I mean, Big Mom's not just gonna stay behind while all this stuff is going on. So the 5 supernovas are obviously kind of putting all of their eggs into one basket here. They're all going after Kaido. You know, Killer, Law, Luffy, Zoro, they're all going after him. None of them really paid a lot of attention to Big Mom in this chapter. The only person that paid attention to Big Mom was Luffy near the end, and that didn't even last very long, because after everybody got electrocuted and he was immune, he was about to attack Big Mom, but then Kaido showed up and Luffy was like, forget you, Big Mom, I'm still going after the dragon guy. I don't know if that's, like, gonna burn them later on, because Big Mom is constantly going to be back there with the lightning storms and stuff, so it's like an environment hazard. It's like, okay, we have to fight a dragon, but not only do we have to fight a giant dragon that can breathe fire and wind blades and lightning, but we also have to do that in a giant raging, like, deity Shinto Hindu lightning storm is going on in the background. So, yeah, they're probably going to have to want to deal with that at some point. Big Mom is not getting into the fray of the fight herself, though. You will notice that. She's not jumping off of Zeus with freaking cognac and, like, clashing with anybody. Or, you know, taking Prometheus and raining down fireballs. She's really just staying up in the air and using Zeus, mainly, and just launching down lightning strikes, thinking that that will be good enough. From what we've seen, that won't be good enough for Luffy. Now, the Boro breath did hurt Luffy, because he's all, you know, charred and everything, but you can see some blood, I think, coming out of his nose and his mouth when he got hit by that. That did do damage. It's just that Luffy's Gear 4th and his Ryuo make him tanky enough to kind of like, I'm good, Kong Gatling, right? And also, Luffy's been in Gear 4th for quite a while now. I mean, I don't know, anime, manga timing, he might have only been in Gear 4th for like a minute as far as this fight is going, but he went into Gear 4th last chapter, and I don't think it's going to be an issue next chapter or anything, but he's going to hit a limit with that. Now, I think his limit might have increased with his Ryuo training, so it's not like 10 minutes anymore, and then his hockey's used up and he has to rest for a while. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be able to be in Gear 4th a little bit longer now. Maybe he might go into another form or something. But he can't stay in Gear 4th forever. I don't think he got that to the point. So, you know, this battle has to kind of get moving here to see, because Luffy's going to eventually run out of steam, like, quite literally. Is Zoro okay? That's a thing, because Zoro not only was winded after getting that attack off, you know, the slicing attack, the blaze, you have to keep in mind, that used up a lot of his haki, because that's what Enma does. Enma literally sucks out your haki, and then you know, focuses it into a single attack, and then boom. So when Zoro got struck by Indra there, or the Tenjin technique, he might have not have been able to activate armament. Like, he might be physically incapable of using armament at that instance. So that means Zoro might have just taken a direct lightning strike, like similar to what happened at Skypiea when Eneru just, you know, bolted him and then he was down for a while, right? That might be something similar there. So he might have to, it might take a while for Zoro to get back up. Killer also took that Indra head on. I think Law and Kid also took the hits, but maybe they might have been able to resist it a little bit more. But I think Zoro probably got it worse, because if he wasn't able to use armament hockey, that's going to hurt him a lot more than everybody else did, right? So yeah, but amazing scenes this chapter. Probably my favorite was, like, obviously the Kong Gatling, but also the scene with Killer's Scyther Sonic Blades, Scyther Sonic Death Blades, awesome name for a band. You know, this is the Scyther Sonic Death Blades, Barry. We're going to show you what it means to shred a dragon from the inside out. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, okay. But that was an awesome scene. I want to see Killer use that again. I want to kind of see. It's kind of messed up. I kind of want to see Killer get swallowed by Kaido and then use that inside of him, right? That would be cool to see, right? But yeah. That might actually happen at some point, because that's like the thing. Like, when you're fighting a giant enemy like a dragon, right? It's like, all right, at some point someone's gonna get launched inside of it and then attack it from the inside, you know, like Guardians of the Galaxy Drax style, right? So we'll see where that goes, right? But great battle chapter. That's really what this was. And Luffy was able to resist it with guts. And I find that also funny as a reference, a callback earlier in the chapter when Kaido was like, oh, so you actually figured out ways to fight me. You're not just charging forth with guts. And at the end of the chapter, Luffy's like, nope, guts still play a critical role in this fight, right, Guts? And then Guts shows up. That's right, Luffy. Guts and Luffy combo attack. But that was a fun joke. It was not really Guts. It was so much armament hockey and Ryuo and Gear 4th, I would assume. But still a nice little reference, a callback there. Okay, so that was the chapter. Hope you guys enjoyed. No break next week. Just keep rolling with it, Oda. Just keep rolling with it. Keep the fight going. We've been wanting this for so long. I think we could still get another chapter or two out of just straight balls out fighting until we maybe cut back downstairs and we see what's going on with the Toby Roppo. I want to see that, but I want to see a few more chapters with this yet. I want to see some serious battle damage on Kaido before we cut away. All right, or maybe after, you know, a few more scenes of this, then we end Act 3, because we're still in Act 3. We've been in Act 3 since, like, October of 2019. I know, that sounds crazy, right? It started right at the Odin flashback. Here's something crazy. The Odin flashback just started in the anime, and that was the beginning of Act 3. We're still in Act 3 a year and a half later almost. It's so much that it's already in the anime, it's covering it. So Act 3 will probably be ending soon, but I have no idea when. Anyway, thanks for watching. Tekking and Barry signing out. Later, everyone.